Hey family, thanks so much for joining me. So I wanted to talk with you about ways that you can partner with a Capricorn to make money. And now um I'll try to do like a little rundown of what the Capricorn is like and all that stuff, and then tell you some ways that maybe you could work together with them, partner with them to make money, to be in a relationship or whatever it is that you're interested in with a Capricorn. So one way that you can make money is business together, doing business together. But let me back up a little bit. Okay, so the Capricorn, what's their personality like? I would say misunderstood. Um, I think it depends on what stage of life you catch them at, but I would say still very picky, very particular about who they want to hang out with and who they spend time with. They don't want to waste their time and energy on people that they don't think are worth it, and that's kind of how they are. And I think it's just this thing of being resourceful that they think about. But I think Capricorns can be pretty shy. They could come across as very social, very talkative, very, open and, fun. They're really funny. Once you get to know them, they crack a lot of jokes. They're very witty. They're smart. So they can crack a lot of jokes and be really funny. I would say fierce protectors. They are more likely to have weapons and they will use them, because they're really like they don't have patience. Some of them have tempers, I would say. Um, Excuse me, I'm keep clearing my throat, but maybe this is a thing for the Capricorn. The intuition is coming out that maybe often they don't talk, so you don't really know how to get a good read on them. Maybe it's the throat chakra thing that's trying to close up, but maybe they don't talk a lot, they don't express themselves a lot, and so they're misunderstood. I would say that Capricorn is not going to be at the party with, you know, like the most popular people in the room or whatever, unless they're just getting money together. That might be the reason why they're doing that. But usually I would say they're homebodies more. If they are out, they're helping, they're doing something in the community, they're working something that because they'll work and put in a lot of hours doing stuff as well. I would say they probably don't work as many hours as a Taurus, but they could. Because I don't think they mind just working. Like when they think about things, they plan far ahead in the future. They think about ways to make money, get rich, and like have access to unlimited money. They want as much money as they can get so they can do whatever they want to do in their lives. And it's sometimes becomes a game of like how much money can they really make. Um I think they're very rule driven, I would say, and system focused. So they think there's a way to do things, and they think about doing things right and just and all this, and they think society works a certain way, and they can be very disillusioned once they find out that it doesn't necessarily work that way. It's hard for them to let go because they like a system, they like structure. They're ruled by Saturn. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, so they're very time focused and got to be on time, got to keep a schedule, got to, follow the rules, got to, get in line and all this stuff. Got to work hard. Those are the rules. And when they meet with someone, like they could be very judgmental. So when they meet with someone who's not following the rules or they don't seem to be following the rules, but they still get stuff done, I think one thing, they could be judgmental, but they could also be like fascinated by the person who's able to get things done and think outside the box and all that. And they're like, well, what do you mean? There's another way of doing this. And when you present this to them, it takes them time to adapt, to adjust. But once they do, they can do it and they do it really well and they find out ways to do amazing things, but they can reach the same goal. Like they're fascinated by someone who could reach the same goal but doesn't follow the rules. You're not breaking the rules necessarily, or you're working things out your way to get something done. They're like, how are you doing this? Excuse me. So, um, but I would say very kind hearted people as well, fierce protectors, funny, like I said, can be a lot of fun to be around. They're not who you think they are. But again, like I said, misunderstood because often they don't really talk about, their feelings or what they think about everything. um, and a lot of people value their opinions and things like that because they are intelligent. They do get money. They're very successful in business. They're CEOs and bosses and all this, and so a lot of people want to be around them. But they start to think that people just want to be around them for money, for success and all this, and they. On the one hand, they like that because they think they should be at the top. They think they should be a leader, a boss. On the other hand, they don't like it because they feel like people might be taking advantage of them, or the only reason that they're around is so that they could get money from them. I think they get disillusioned and really hurt when they see that someone is trying to take advantage of them, and they might change their view of the world, which is sad because they can be pretty naive, I would say. And I mean that in a good way. Like they could be really sweet and think the world works this way and good things happen to people that do good in the world and things like that. And so, if they could be paired up with someone who is naive and sweet and kind and loving and gentle, then I feel like it could kind of restore their faith in humanity, because then they start to see, okay, well, there are some good people left. There are still some people out there, but they understand that they have to limit that to maybe a few people or one person or whatever. So, um, ways that you could partner with Capricorn and make money. Um, you can connect with them as far as business goes, doing business deals, figuring out ways to make money together. Um, so it might be something like that. You are doing a business deal, you have a proposal for them, and they will consider it, think about it, maybe invest in whatever it is that you're doing, your project or whatever. So they may be an investor in a business that you have in mind, or the two of you might have businesses and you might invest together, combine something with those businesses to make money together. You might also connect with them on intellect. Um, Being intelligent is something that I think they value a lot, and they value intelligent people. People who are high class, they would consider people who have status. They are attracted, I would say, to people they consider to be powerful, intelligent, attractive, have status in some way. They are um, very concerned, I would say, with the way that other people see them, because they're like, often I feel like that's how they feel like they could tell if a person is worth something, if they have status, if they have money, and they start to understand later, I think, that that's not always true. Like I was saying, being very system oriented, they think, no, these are the rules, you follow the rules. And then when they see a person that's not within that frame or framework or system, they're like, well, how is this person doing this? This is strange. So this is something that I would say an area that they could work on. But like I was saying with the status thing, so you might have status and you might end up in a room with them and you might be able to do a deal with them because you have status. Um, you have a business, you do something similar to what they do, or they need your services or something. Um, or you think in a different way. And, like, for example, you might be very spiritually, very gifted or talented or whatever, have abilities, and they're not like that's not their first choice for what they're focused on, but it fascinates them because, like, when it comes to love, when it comes to spirituality, those things that really are not by the book or by the rules, they're interested, they're fascinated because they feel like they don't really have a lot of ideas about those things. Like, they feel like they're totally lost. And if you can do that, they're fascinated by you. Like, for example, say a person that could go to a casino and they could win and become a millionaire, they might be like, what? Because how did that happen? Because you have to work hard. No, you don't. But when they find out that it can be, done, then they're like, okay, so something else could happen, you know, to get you to the goal. But you have to be prepared when you get there and all this. They have rules. They think that you need to follow rules to get where, you need to be. Um, so business deals, being gifted or talented in an area where they might think it's unusual, but they're interested in it. Um, Things that aren't necessarily by the rules or by their rules, but they're fascinated by different things, learning new things, intellectual stimulation, things like that. Um, they like, I would say, to be around other people who also think that, there's a lot of value in working hard and stuff like that too. So if you have a great work ethic and you work hard, maybe you work with them, or like I said, you have a business, they have a business, maybe you could do a deal together. Those are some things that I could think of. Joking, having fun, having status, um, because they think you're like them if you also have status. But I think, like I said, being kind of naive, they're not really, they might not be a good judge of character because they think, okay, things are supposed to be by the book. So they're like me, right? They're rich, so they got there by hard work, just like me, or smart work, whatever. Or they didn't, like, they don't usually, I don't think they would usually think that a person would do something like slimy to make money or to get to the top or whatever. They just think, well, they work hard like me. And when they find out more, then I think they distance themselves from people that they feel like have not played by the rules or have done something wrong to get to where they are. So you might connect with them on things that they like, music, it might be dancing, it might be, you know, comedy, it might be um, just, some kind of acquired taste, that you have good food, or like reading, or fashion, or different things like that, things that they would consider to be, you know you have high status, therefore you do these things, and they might end up in the same room with you because of that, and you might be able to do a deal with them for that reason. So these are some ideas of ways that you can do a deal with Capricorns. Hopefully this was interesting information for you. As always, I say happy lightning fast manifesting, and love y'all, and hope to bring you some more videos soon. All right. Bye for now.